So, for instance, gravity, the force accretion called gravity, working at the level of thought and the atom, is generated by cosmic intent to draw its next existing dimensional field into conjunction with the existing elemental frequency component. So, force accretion is using the next wave harmonic paradigm up from yours to draw it to you so that you and it become one. It is the natural return of the Creator's creation to the Creator. It is the natural implosion process that happens after the explosion. See, they didn't tell you what happens after the Big Bang. After the Big Bang, then there is the coming together of all that was banged. Accretion is simply the curve or the force that returns the projection back to the projector. Consciousness will always return to itself because it doesn't exist outside of itself. It will always be itself. It will never be something different from itself. It will show you degrees based upon the place where you are in relationship to its activity. So it's all about your personal interpretation of what you're looking at, but it will remain the same.
20 light years from Earth. Star Gliese 581. It's about the same age as our Sun. And orbiting it, this planet. It's just the right distance from its Sun. Any closer and water would boil away. Any further, and it would freeze. Ideal conditions for life to have evolved. And if comets have struck, delivering water and organic materials, then life, complex beings like us, even civilizations like our own, could be down there, right now.
But Gliese 581 is a small star. It doesn't burn as brightly or give off as much heat as our Sun. So the planets can orbit much closer without being vaporized.
We know of 4 planets going around this star, and a few of them are quite interesting. There's one that's only about twice the mass of Earth. Now that particular one is very close to the star. It's probably very hot, too hot for life. But there's another one, about 8 times the mass of the Earth, which is getting far enough away from the star that it might be in the habitable zone.
Like Earth, this planet orbits at a distance where water is a liquid. And where there's liquid water, there could be oceans and life.
Areas here closest to the center represent the highest level of consciousness. So as the periphery begins to collapse back onto itself, which is what's happening, but you don't want to leave the shell, you don't want to leave the surface, you don't want to leave the superficial, and follow the dictates of intelligence back to the learning of itself. See, what happens is, and listen carefully, when the Creator creates, and the mind of the Creator creates, that so-called explosion out from itself, the shell that is created in that limitation, remember, the Most High doesn't create by going out of itself, it creates by going into itself. Whoa. Creation is negation. Listen, there is nothing outside of the Creator. So the only way the creator can create is to negate. So in the need, in the intent, it negates from itself because it creates the need by the negation. The only way creation can happen is if the need is created. Because if the creator doesn't create, it's just what it is, without a definition. So the creator creates by negating itself into this 1/10 of itself, and in that negation do we find that as it begins to go to its limitations, because remember, negation is a form of limitation so the creator can actually create. Because if there was no limitation in the creation, in the creator, you would not exist. So as the creator negates, there are peripherals matching the same 1/10 negation process. So what happens is what you look at as a big bang is nothing but an implosion-explosion process. That's your 6th and 7th day. As the implosion process happens, an explosion happens in another dimensional frame, in the negative realm, in the realm of matter, in the realm of the feminine, where I told you all of it happens, where intelligence is expressed through the cosmic vulva, through the cosmic uterus. So as it begins to negate, it then creates. But as it creates, because it's limited by 1/10, it will only go to a specific level to match the consciousness that was implanted within that particular womb. Now, as it goes to its limit, in the creation process, a beautiful thing happens. When it reaches its peripheral, the peripheral represents its lowest energy ebb. It is its most ignorant, stupid self. But then a beautiful process happens. In the tidal wave form of energy that goes from the out and creates the shell now fragments into a billion, trillion, innumerable numbers. And as it fragments, as it reaches its shell, it begins to come back to the center that created it. And the journey back to self is consciousness. Can I get an amen? So you have to understand the journey back to self is the journey back to all that is, back to the self that created you, that one self that became individualized by the 1/10 negation of what was and what is and will always be. But again, let's go back to this. At the time when the Earth was on a specific ellipsis, the whole Earth was surrounded by what is known as a compressed hydrogen envelope, which created an atmosphere that was perfect. There was no death. Death was by choice. You just want to leave your body, you left it. There was no disease. The animals and the humans connected telepathically. Now I says, well, what is this dream world you're talking about? It's a world that if I could perceive it, knew it already existed. Because there's no thought that is new.
No.
There is no thought. I asked somebody, tell me a new thought. There's no new thought. Everything that we're participating in is a pre-existing experience based upon the envelope. Whatever is happening to the trajectory metaphysically, why we tilted to that 24-degree angle, was to cleanse the planet physiologically and spiritually, psychically, by creating certain aberrations that would force the life forms to have to adapt and thus evolve. Evolution does not happen without trauma. If the human strain were to be too perfect and everything would be wonderful, they'd die out. Perfection equals death. So there is a constant changing and evolving and moving of the particular environmental situation to create conditions whereby man may evolve. And at that time, the Earth was not at its 6th cycle, or its 2 working through the 4. It was working on a more, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I'll get them for you. The ellipsis and the angle to which the sun was hitting it was not as intense, because that's the time when they call it the Garden of Eden. All right? The temperature was the same around every place on the planet.
That's when it was all together.
Right, that's when these continental drifts here were not separated. They were all together. And essentially, most of this landmass, and you see here, was not separated.
The Sirius double stars orbit in ellipses around one another. The orbital period of Sirius A and B about their common center of gravity is 49.9 years. This scientific data is today accepted with one accord by the Departments of Astronomy at Harvard, Ottawa, and Leicester universities. This information is reported as followed in various sources. Sirius, the brightest star, is actually a twin star. Its orbit lasts 49.9 years. As is known, the star Sirius A and Sirius B orbit each other in a double bow every 49.9 years. The point requiring attention here is the double, bow-shaped orbit of the two stars around one another.